Okay, so here is the first stream of this fall semester. I want to make sure that my mic is working. Okay, so here is quick pro check. I just pull my phone up and use that. So I have some glitches right now. Let me just squeeze through here. Okay, so here are the glitches. I haven't been on Ecamm in a while, and I haven't updated all my screens to make sure it's pulling from the right place. So if you see me looking around for a second trying to get everything up and going, that's the reason why. I also haven't charged my iPencil or Apple Pencil, however you say it. And so I'm doing that stuff right now. But regardless of any of that, I'm going to go through a few problems here tonight. I'm going to talk about the test a little bit. I am more than welcome to take any questions that you might have for the test tomorrow night. Test 1, average of 64 over the course of the last probably 3-4 years on this set of tests that I use. But I think it's going to be higher now. So I'm going to keep working on that. This semester, we're going to see how our classes go, how tests go. Anyway, all right, so as you see here, I've got my opening screen where you can see me, a little bit of the background of the room that I work in, nothing major, and then a workspace. I also have a screen where the calculator is there. Give me 1 second. Let me see if I can switch. And I don't think anybody's on here right now. Now, there might be a couple. As soon as you come up, if you don't mind, just give me a text in the comments and reactions. Just let me know you're here. If you give me your initials or first or last name or something, that way I know the folks from my class are here. Because this online office hours tonight will give you 5 points towards test 1, which is a boost. Now, in the average of that test from the 64, I won't add that. I'll add the 5 to the grade book. But as far as my averages go, I will, because I want to be able to compare it to the previous, so I'll just leave those out. But let me mess around for a second. Nobody's said anything in there, but I know there's a couple of folks in here. So just give me something up in the chat so I know you're here. While you're doing that, or while we're getting up and going, I'm going to go to my Stream Deck and test a couple of screens to make sure that we're okay here. So I've got my main screen. I've got just me, which is me and me. I don't know why I've added an additional circle. I was probably playing around with it before. Here's my main screen. Here's my main workspace. I actually like this better because it puts me down at the bottom. I don't really need to be front and center on the side there. So I like the main workspace better. Here is the workspace and the calculator, so I can write a few things out the side. I like this one too. What is this one? Calculator workspace. Okay, I don't really like that one. Again, stuff I was just messing around with. Hey, thanks for coming. Appreciate it. I got you, and I'm going to write names down as we go. And again, I'm just going through a couple more screens here, and then we'll be ready to get started. This is one of my screens that I'm using, but you see my calculator's minimized. Again, it's a function of me not messing with it. This is when I bring in guests. You can come in and we can talk through stuff. I won't be doing that tonight necessarily. Let me go back to here. So I feel good with this. Let's go back to the... Let's go to this one and let me... Just want to see where my pencil is, and it's okay. So I think I'm okay now to get started. All right, got Aisha, got Jacob here tonight. So I got 2. Thanks for stopping by. I really do appreciate you guys stopping by. As always, these open office hours are optional. Now, not optional in the sense of if I'm given 5 points. If you're here and you're interacting, then you get 5 points. And I do appreciate you being here. And Jacob, looks like you're up on Twitch. So you found me on Twitch, which is fine. Maybe I'm streaming to both, so it's okay. But maybe you're up on both, and maybe you just send a text from there. It doesn't matter. What I'm trying to do, I'm trying to figure out. I used Twitch for the longest time, and the reason I use that for these open office hours is because of easy in, easy out. You didn't have to sign in to pick community college or anything like that. We just get right into the math, so to speak. Twitch gets a little busy. Excuse me. Twitch gets a little busy because there's a lot of gaming stuff going on, a lot of other stuff, and people just having lives talking about nothing. So I switched to YouTube I can't remember if it was the summer or the spring, but I started streaming here on YouTube. Anyway, I still stream to both because I'm trying to figure out which is the best medium for class, and maybe you guys can help me by letting me know which you like better. I did not put the Twitch link out there, I didn't think, but I will post that out there as well because I do stream to both. Actually, the one that I have up on my phone so I can kind of watch what I'm doing is on Twitch, so I can kind of see what's happening and what's not. Okay, so let's get started. If you have any questions for me at any time, just type them into the comment section. And let me move this keyboard. Push the mouse up, Stream Deck up. Get my workspace. I have kind of a professional workspace. I have cameras. I have a little light over here for streaming, stuff like that. But it's not super professional. So if you see me moving stuff around, that's why. So, oops. We'll go with the crayon, and we'll go with this. I like the crayon look. So we have test 1 coming up, and that's the whole purpose for this stream tonight, is to talk about test 1. However, if you want to talk about probability, any of the concepts that we've talked about up to this point, or the addition rule or the multiplication rule with some of the problems that I assigned for your practice, by all means, tell me what problems they are, and I'll go to them, bring them up, no problem. But on our test, there are several things that I want you to be aware of. And I will remind folks of this during the test, but all of our problems, I need you to round to 2 places. Now, when we get into some further concepts, start talking about discrete probability distributions, maybe normals. Excuse me, I'll have you take some of those out further because some of the outer edges, so to speak, in that binomial distribution will be like 0.0002. So I want you to take it out to 2 significant places. So it'll be slightly different in that respect. And then with the normal curve, same thing. You're going to have 5 numbers in there that I want to see. So right now, just to 2 places. And some of the things that you're expected to do on the exam are, if you're finding the mean and you're showing, I'm going to ask you to show me, then I need you to actually show, if you're looking for the population mean, this formula right here. And then I need you to show me here, like, for example, if it's 2 plus 6 plus 6 plus 3 plus 5, let's say, divided by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, divided by 5, then I need to see that. Now, I know that you'll probably use the calculator, so you will probably go to something like stat list, and if you see over there to the left, I've got it on the screen. And you go enter, so you will probably... Let me clear this mess out that I was messing around with. And I'll put my list in here. So I'll go 2, enter, 6, enter, 6, enter, 3, enter, 5, enter. So there's my numbers, right? 26633. Can you... No, you can't see it on the screen. Why is it not showing? Timeout. Again, this is a function of me not being on here in a little while. Now we've got the numbers on there. I'm actually okay with the overlap. It's not going to change too much what I'm doing. So there we go. I use it just to give you some insight on my stream. I use a Mac. It's a 2015 Mac that I use. So it's not the most high quality, but it will stream well. And I use Ecamm, which works with Mac to stream. I also use Mirroring 360, so I'm able to write on my iPad and push things through. Hey, Colin, thanks, buddy. Thanks for showing up. So I can push things through using my iPad. Sometimes I have a few glitches, like if you notice my freeform page there, it's full on my iPad. It's not full on Ecamm. So I'm still working out a few of the kinks. Hopefully this semester I can get that all worked out so we can maximize it, but it's okay. So back to the original. If you are on the test and I ask you to provide the formula and the work for finding the mean or finding the variation, so on and so forth, I need you to write the formula. And again, in this case, we're looking at the population mean equals the summation of the xi's divided by all the n's, so how many there are. So you'll probably do it in the calculator. So I put the numbers in the calculator, and if you remember in the calculator, you're just going to go to second exit. You want to quit out of there, or else you'll put something in a cell. and then you go second list, scroll over, whoops, scroll down to mean. I hit that, and then now it's looking for what do you find the mean of, and I can't see it again. Time out. Apologies, this is the mirroring 360 coming into it. Oops, boom, boom. And let me see if it shows up now. So let me bring this in. Let's go to secondary display. Nope, I want to do mirroring 360, and this is the iPad. There it is. Okay, now we can see it, and I apologize for that. It takes me a second. So we want to find the mean of L1, right? Easy stuff. That's not hard. So the mean is 4.4. But what I'm looking for you here is to work it out and show me that computationally you can work through these pieces and parts. So 6, 12, 14, 17, what is that, 22 divided by 5, which in this case ends up to be exactly what you've got there, 4.4. So, okay. So you'll use the calculator if you want to find most of them on the test. That's okay, but I want to make sure that you can do this. If you're looking at, let's go to black. If you're looking at the population variance, then you're looking at this sigma squared equals the summation of the x subtract the mean divided by big N. So in this case, same thing, except you may have a lot of numbers, so you may have to put the dot, dot, dots in there. So you're going to go with my set, and we're going to use the set of numbers right up here that I put into the calculator that I used there previously. So I'm going to have, in the first one, I'm going to have 2 subtract 4.4 squared, I left out the square, squared plus 6 minus 4.4 squared plus dot, dot, dot plus 5 minus 4.4 squared, all divided by 5. And if I want to use the calculator in that instance, if you remember we did a few of these, I can just simply go over here to scroll up to L2, right? I can put a formula in there. And the formula that I'm going to put in there is this. I'm going to put it in terms of the calculator, which is going to be, where are my x values? They're in L1. So I got L1 subtract 4.4. I'm going to square it, and I'm going to get that all the way down. Then I'm going to take a sum and divide by 5. So in this case, second L1, so whoops, clear, I need parentheses. Sorry. Second L1 subtract 4.4 squared, boom, and it fills in all the way below. Remember, we did this in class. I can't remember if it was the first or second week, and then we did some last week, but not a ton. Then I want to find the sum of this. So second exit, and then second list. Scroll over to math, down to sum. I'm taking the sum of L2, and I get 13.2, and then I'm going to divide by, there were 5. Enter, 2.64. So my variance is 2.64. That's the variance. Now, I want to check that. I want to make sure that what I've done is, oh, not now. So I'm going to get clear on all that, and I'm going to go to second stats, and just like we did with mean earlier, whoops, I'm going to scroll down to variance, and we'll take the variance of that L1 set. That says 3.3. Okay, so if that's the case, let me go back to this because this highlights something that I also want to talk about. the sum of L2. So back to the original of using that L2 and then divided by, instead of 5, I'm going to divide by 4. That gives me 3.3. So what we worked right here was the population variance. And the population variance is this. And the population variance is 2.64. But what we got when we found the variance from the calculator, when you just found the variance, is that you did not find sigma squared. You found the variance of the sample. So when you go to second list, don't know if I've talked about this in class, scroll over to math, and you find the variance of, say, that set in L1, that 3.3, you're finding the variance of a sample. If you're taking the variance as I wrote it originally, which was for a population, then the population variance is going to be 2.64, and that's going to be based on our calculations using our cells. I don't know if there's any questions on that or if that throws you off a little bit, but the variance that you get from going to second list is the variance of a sample. If you take the mean from there, it's the variance of, it doesn't matter because it's the same for sample and population, but the variance of standard deviation, which are different formulas, because you've got n and n minus 1, because they're different formulas for the variance and the sample, and you get slightly different answers. That's for the sample, but we were actually looking for this one. So let me come down here just one more, and let's go s squared, and that's going to equal the summation of x minus x bar squared divided by n minus 1. That is what the 3.3 comes from in the previous example with the previous number. Okay, so you have to pay attention to verbiage. So if I am, okay, let me backtrack a little bit. I'll come back to it. And I know it does because I'm talking about samples and using this and that and the other. Let me backtrack all the way out. And thanks for throwing that out there. Let me go clear. Let me clear the palette, so to speak. And just scroll up. It doesn't want that to go away. So where's my eraser? I'll just erase all of this real quick. A very little eraser. Hope everybody can see this okay. Again, I'm still trying to work out getting my iPad to show up fully on that side screen from the calculator. All right, so let's go back. I'll use crayon again. Let's go back to a problem. Let's just see what a problem might look like. Find the population variance of the following set. So the following set is going to be a group of numbers, and it's going to be a population because that's how it's verbalized, right? So if I have a set of numbers, and that set of numbers is 3, 4, 3, 6, 7, 7, 8, let's say. There's your set of numbers. And I want to find the population variance, then I'm going to use on paper sigma squared equals the summation of x subtract mu squared divided by big N, right? So if I want to find it in the calculator, then I'm going to have to go to stats. Cancel that. There's actually other ways to skin a cat using the calculator, but I'm trying to stay consistent with what we've done. So you would go stat. By the way, this calculator that I'm using that I purchased on Apple, notice it says stats and your TI-84 says stat. So there's a couple of small, tiny deviations, but hopefully that doesn't throw you off too bad. Stat edit, I scrolled over. Okay, I'm gonna go up, clear, enter. Enter. Up, clear, enter. So what I would do is go into the calculator. I want to find the population variance. And I would put in that set. I would go 3, enter, 4, enter, 3, enter, 6, enter, 7, enter, 7, enter, 8, enter. So I've got that set in there. 8, 7, 7, 6, 3, and so on. Okay. So now that I've got the set in there, now I can use the calculator by scrolling over here, scrolling to the top and putting in a formula. And the formula that we're going to put in is going to be parentheses L1, which is where my set is, which is what this represents. All those numbers in the set. Subtract the mean, which I'll need to find here in the second, whatever that is, and square it. And it's going to put it all the way down. So second exit. Whoops. Second list, scroll over. So the mean for this to 3 decimal places is 5.43. So the mean, I put that over there for reference, 5.43 to 2 decimal places. So I go back to my spreadsheet, scroll over, scroll up, and I'm going to put that formula in there. So I'm going to go parentheses, second, L1, subtract whatever the mean is, which we have 5.43, squared, enter. Fills in all the holes down below. Now, what is it actually doing? So let's talk about that real quick, and then I'll come back to what I think is the question here from the population in the sample. Oops. Here we go. So what we have here is 3 subtract 5.43 squared plus 4 subtract 5.43 squared plus dot dot dot, which indicates all those numbers in between, plus 8 subtract 5.43 squared, right? And all of that is divided by, in this case, since it's the population, it's all divided by how many there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's all divided by 7, right? So in your calculator, I can't see that far. 5.9049. That's what this is. 5.9049. And I wish I could make the calculator larger on there. I'm still working on that piece of it. The second piece is 2.0449. The last one on here for that corresponds to the 8 is, oh Lord, 6.6049. And the numbers in between correspond to the dots, and the numbers in between there that we didn't work out here. So that's what they represent. And I have to add all of those up. Remember, there is a summation here. So I'm going to add those up. Well, I'm adding up what's in L2, right? So second exit, second list, and scroll down to sum. Second L2, the sum of L2. Got ahead of myself there. The sum of L2 is 25.71. So the top of this sum equals 25.71, and we're going to divide by 7. That's how many there are. Divide by 7 equals 3.67. So my variance of this particular set, which I consider to be a population in the write-up, is 3.67, right? The only difference to this, if we are going down here to find it as a sample, if I rewrote this, find the sample variance of the following set, is that we would have x subtract x bar squared divided by n minus 1. So when you do the top piece of it, you're going to do the same stuff. So you're still going to get 5.9049, this, all the ones in between. So your sum is going to remain the same. However, we're going to divide by 6. We're going to divide by 7 minus 1. And that's going to give you a slightly different answer for that. 25.71 divided by 6. 4.29. Slight difference between the two. One is the sample variance and one is the population variance. And that's me working it out and showing it, trying to show you the difference. So we have both of them up here on the screen. If I go to second list, which is second stat, scroll over to math, and go to find the variance that the calculator pulls from that particular menu gives me the sample. Oh yeah, better late than never. And this video will stay out there, by the way, so if anybody ever shows up later, comes in or wants to watch it again and try to make heads or tails of it, then I just leave them up all the time. I don't really take them down until like a year later. That's what I used to do with Twitch. But anyway, yeah, thanks for coming by. And I'll take down everybody's name when we get close to the end, so I'll make sure I've got everybody for the points. So Aisha, does that make sense with does that make any better sense than maybe I did when I first started, when I was kind of, in my head I wasn't all over the place, but I understand how I'm coming in from different angles. All right. Waiting for a response. And one of the beauties of coming on here and doing this is that you're doing it from your home. I know it's taking up your time, but you could eat a pizza while you're doing this, go use the restroom and come back, get a drink, whatever. It's just kind of laid back in that sense, and get any questions that you have that you want answered. So I'll backtrack again, say again, from what I've done right here and what I did using the calculator, using both the cells, putting a formula in the cell, and also writing it out as I did here. Don't forget the dots. They represent all the numbers in between. Okay, I'm glad you do. It can be confusing because you're coming in from different angles and using the calculator and using the other stuff. I get it. So keep the questions coming. And if you're still not fully sure, I'll walk through another one. I don't mind. It doesn't bother me at all. So there. So again, to backtrack just a second, I erased everything, didn't I? Yeah. But I was talking about test 1 and some of the things you'll have to do. And some of the things that I'm going to ask you to do is, number 1, round to 2 decimal places. So make sure you can do that. I've done it throughout these problems. Excuse me. You've done it throughout your life in your math classes anyway, and probably in your checkbook and things like that. And I need you to be able to write out formulas such as this one and or this one and find the answers. So, all right. Not too bad, I don't think. All right. What else are you required to do? And by the way, type any questions that you've got in there. The first question I got was just a little bit of confusion because I was going in and out. Instead of staying on one track, I went in and out and kind of came in from different angles. I get it. So, while I'm waiting on another question, I will erase. What's that object erasure? I don't want that. I may go back to using Doceri. I find Doceri to be, it'll take up the whole screen and I won't have to worry about too much. The thing about the program that I used before, Doceri, it was fantastic, but on my older Mac, even though I've maxed out my Mac with RAM and everything else, the fan starts sounding like I'm about to take off, like I'm in a jet airplane. So, back to this. All right, so we're talking about, and why does that? All right, anyway, we're talking about test 1, right? And I'll go back to it. Round to two places. No formulas. Now, if you weren't in class last week, then you may have missed the fact that I allow you to bring a 3x5 card. 3x5 index card with anything on the front and back. You're more than welcome to fill it up. My philosophy on that is every time I've ever done that in my life, by the time I got done with it, I think most students are this way, by the time you get done with it, you know everything that's on that card. So it doesn't bother me at all to have you bring that card in at all. Okay. So I want you to round two places, know the formulas, 3x5 card, but know that when I say population, what the form is that corresponds. When I say sample, what the form is that corresponds. And how to use your technology, because there will be a time constraint to this test. Nothing crazy. I do give plenty of time. However, you know, as I stated in class, just jokingly, we can't stay till midnight. So I give you a certain amount of time to work through the problems. So we have covered, switch to green, I haven't used that really. Measures of center, which were mean, median, and mode. The mean, of course, is you add up all the numbers and you divide by how many there are. It gives you a true measure of center. Median, you put them in order and you find that middle number. And when you find that middle number, that gives you a sense of where you are in the exact middle, where 50% of the data lies on one side, 50% lies on the other. And mode, of course, is the one that occurs most often. And you can have a multimodal event. You can have more than one mode. You can have no mode, and you can have just one mode. So there could be plenty in the sets that I give on the assessment. Then we have measures of variance, which we have variance. We have standard deviation. And everybody's most tricky one ever, range. Not really. Range is the difference between the top number and the lowest number, the max and the min. Variance, we just went through a problem with variance. Standard deviation and variance have a certain relationship. So the relationship between variance and standard deviation is that variance, remember, looks like this. Standard deviation looks like this, which means you took the square root of that. If you take the square root of one side, you have to take the square root of the other. So if you take the square root of the variance, you get the standard deviation. So that's what you get. So in essence, the standard deviation actually looks like this for a population variance, or for a population. So you've got the variance, and then you've got the standard deviation. Looks better to me. Okay, so it's a mathematical relationship. So one is the square of the other, and one is the square root of the other. So make sure that you understand that. Range, very easy. And finding the variance and standard deviation, if you can find the variance, you just take the square root of the variance and you get the standard deviation. So that's the relationship. All right. Measures of center, measures of variance, and finally, measures of, I'll slip it over here so I have more room, but measures of position. And the only thing that we talked about at this time, because I'm going to save z-scores for the normal curve, for the continuous distributions. I'm going to save all of that, although we did talk about empirical rule a little bit in the beginning. But for now, you just need to be able to find a 5-number summary and draw a box plot. Also, find outliers. There we go. Okay, so those are 3 things that I need you to be able to do from there. And that's it. Now, we started probability, so we've been talking about probability for a while, but this is our review back to where we started. So 5-number summary, draw a box plot, and find the outliers. Let me work one right here. Let me see how much room is it going to give me. Just a little bit. Okay. So if I have a set, I'm going to make a very small set. Well, it's not going to be super small, but I'll go 4, 8, 8, 7, 4, 3, and 2. How about that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I've got 7 numbers. I need to find the 5-number summary. If I put these in order, I can easily find the median, right? So I've got 2, 3, 4, 4. Then I have 7, 8, and 8. And if I'm finding my middle number, there it is. So my median is 4, okay? My max is 8. My minimum is 2. And I've just about got my entire 5-number summary, right? So I've got the min equals 2. I've got Q1. I'll find that in a second. I've got the median. I've already found that. It's 4. I've got, Q3 and the max. Now the max, how can I get that to, there it is. Okay. The max is going to be that largest number, which is 8. And Q3, we'll come back to that. Q1, let's go red. Q1 is the median of this lower set, so it's going to be 3. Q3 is going to be median of the upper 50%, which is going to be 8. So there's your 5-number summary, 2, 3, 4, 8, 8. Let's check that. Let's check it using the calculator. So I'm going to clear all this mess out that I've got in the calculator. Then I'll put in my number. So I've got 4, enter, 8, enter, 8, enter, 7, enter, 4, enter, 3, enter, 2, right? Okay, so I want to find the 5-number summary. Go second exit, get out of there. I'm going to clear everything to clear my palette. I'm going to go to stats, calc, and I'm going to hit enter on one variable, stats. Clear. Mode. I may not be able to get away from the wizard. Sorry, this is an online calculator, so sometimes I run into things like this where I don't use the wizards in class. It's just an old school that I do. And so I want to get away from there. And typically, if I go to mode, it will bring me that. Let's go to catalog. Catalog is different too. Oh well. Anyway, if you go one variable stats, it'll give you all this. So let's draw the box plot. Let's go that direction. So basically what I've got here is I've got from 2 to 8. So I've got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I've got like a horizontal line there. So my minimum was that 2. So I'm going to put the 2 there. My Q1 was 3. I'm going to put that right there. My median was 4. I'm going to draw a line there. My max, my Q3 was 8 and my max was 8. So this particular box plot has only a whisker coming down there to the min. I have nothing on the other side because my max is the same as my Q3. So it just works out that way. The IQR here, one other thing that you'll have to find is the interquartile range. So the IQR, if you remember, is Q3 subtract Q1. In this case, it's 8 subtract 3 equals 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's how much distance that thing travels. So there's 5 units in between there. And then if I wanted to find whether there were true outliers or not, if I wanted to find outliers using Tukey's method, then I would take this IQR. So I take the IQR multiply it times 1.5, which gives me 5 times 1.5. That's pretty easy to do, plus 250. So, yeah, that's just 7.5. And then I take the Q3 and add 7.5. In other words, we want to see how far out we go before we hit outliers. And I'm going to take Q1 and subtract 7.5. So my Q3, sorry to be moving around so much, is 8. So 8 plus 7.5 gives me 15.5. But you remember, we did not have, there was nothing out here at all. There's nothing out there. So we have no outliers on the upper end anyway. However, if we were looking for outliers, any number outside of 15.5 would be the outlier. Now on the other end, we may have an outlier out here. I don't think we do. But Q1 is 3, so we've got 3 subtract 7.5, which puts us in a negative number, doesn't it? Negative 4.5. So any number that falls outside of negative 4.5, which is way down here, is going to be an outlier. And on this side, whatever number is greater than that 15.5. So you got 15.5 on one side, minus 4.5 on the other. Any numbers that fall outside of here or outside of here will be considered outliers by Tukey's method, which is to take that interquartile range, multiply it by 1.5, add that to the Q3, and subtract from the Q1. Okay. Hope that helps, and it is on video here, so if you need to come back and take a look at it. Also in your books, I don't know what your feedback is on the book that I loaded up as PDF is a good book. And everything that I talk about in class you can find in there very easily. The Larson texts are very easy to follow. So hopefully if you have some questions on it, you can find in the text what you need. All right, and what else is left for the test? Okay, real quick. And again, if you have a question, shout it out. If you need me, I've given you some work sets. I've given you some sets within the book. Hopefully you've worked through those. And if you have any questions, I'll take those. Oh, what in the world? Why is it so small? Maybe object eraser would be better. No, I don't think it is. Let's go pixel eraser. All right, so any questions, toss them out. I'll go over just a couple more vocabulary terms. Not all of them, but I've given you the vocabulary sets. Make sure that you understand the vocabulary from basically 4 sections that we've covered for this first test. The vocabulary for the probability, you are not responsible for it this time. There's no vocabulary test this week, and you won't have any of it on test 1. So no need to overly study on that section in prep for this test. I got a lot of stuff up here. It needs to be bigger. Maybe I'll go back to this area. I'm not sure. Because it sounds like my computer's about to take off anyway. All right, couple more items from here. You need to know what a I gotta choose crayon. What a population is, what a sample is, what a statistic is, and what a parameter is. So you are responsible for those. You are responsible for the words quantitative and qualitative. Inferential and descriptive. I'm not really quizzing you on that. That's stuff you need to know. You may be in the context of a problem, but not directly. I think that's it. I think I've done a pretty good review tonight. I've had a couple of questions from folks. Nothing major. Let me. There's Just move my calculator to the side and let me write down get some names before I go. And then unless there's any more questions, I will close out. So let me see. So I got Aisha, got Jacob, Colin, Colin Green. Yep, gotcha. And Asia. I think that's it. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 individuals that showed up. 1, 2, let's see, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah. Aisha, thanks. I appreciate it. I like doing these things, and it's really helpful when you have questions. So as you see how this runs, this is the first one that I've had with you guys. I take questions the whole time. If there's no questions, then I'll work through a few problems. Always optional. You can pop in and out. I don't judge at all if people come in or don't come in. But on nights like tonight, I do give 5 points. So the 4 of you get 5 points for being here tonight and interacting. So I appreciate it. How many questions I haven't determined. But typically it's a three-page test. Three one-sides of a test is typically what it is. Yeah. So we'll come into class tomorrow. We're going to talk about the multiplication and addition rule again in probability, and I will push forward into permutations, combinations, and define those. I may have talked about them last week, but I don't think I did. Yeah. Thank you for that. Thanks. And I will cover a little bit of that, and then we'll take the test. And the reason I do that is because it is a 3-hour class on Wednesdays, so I have to cover the material, or we'll just lose time crazily. And then it lets you, when you're done, you get to breathe, and when you're done, you turn in your test and you can go home. So if you're done in 10 minutes, you're fine, which most won't. If you're done in 45 minutes, you're okay. If it takes you an hour, 15 minutes, that's okay. I give till the end of class, so I'll give you plenty of time. I do typically allow questions on the calculator, because I know this is not a calculator class. It's just a tool that we use, and you may not have it mastered. So as long as I'm not giving away an answer to any test items, I'll take any questions on the calculator whatsoever. If it's going to give away something, then I typically shy away from answering those. So anyway, unless there's any more questions, I'm going to close out, and I appreciate you guys be here. I will have this stuff straightened out by next time. As you see, I've got a few flaws up here. That's a function of me not being on here for a while, I'll be honest. And I didn't have everything fine-tuned. But I'll have this better for the next one, and I'll announce tomorrow when I'll start having the other ones. It all depends on what else I have going during the week. But I'll do these as often as you need. I'll add points once in a while, and sometimes I just do them for my pure enjoyment, but you're welcome to show up and ask questions. All right, that's all I've got. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. But I appreciate you guys stopping by, and I will hopefully see you all in class tomorrow night. Thanks.